Hi everyone. Today's video I'm going to show you how you can start assembling, cutting, and adding transitions to your clips in Adobe Premiere Pro. So in my left bottom window here I have all of my footage already imported. They're all just some stock footage I found that don't have any audio in them, and then I have an audio track here at the bottom to kind of tie all the footage together. So when you want to start assembling clips, you're going to double click on the first clip. And that's a bad example. You're going to double click on a clip and it is going to bring it up in the previewer window up here. So from up here you can hit your play button or your space bar on your keyboard, and that will begin playing the footage, and you'll see our little playhead moving along as it plays. And let's pretend like right here is where I want the start of my clip to begin in my timeline down here. So instead of bringing the entire clip down to the timeline and then trying to find that spot and then cutting it there and deleting the excess in this previewer window, I'm just going to tell it to put an endpoint right there by hitting I on my keyboard. And now you can see everything from the endpoint forward is now highlighted in a light gray. Now if I scoot this playhead a little bit further along, maybe right about there I think is where I want my shot to end, I'm going to hit O on the keyboard to tell it to be my out point, and now I have that range of footage that I liked highlighted in light gray. And now with my range selected, I can click and drag on that footage, and I'm going to drop it, whoops, I guess it's on that video 4 channel. I'm going to drag this guy onto my video 1 channel, and it is all the way, yep, it is all the way at the very beginning of my sequence. So when I play this through, it's only going to play that range I selected. Now you can come down to this clip here, and I'm going to hit Command plus a couple times on the keyboard to zoom in on the timeline. That's going to be Control plus if you're on a PC. And you can see this clip hasn't gotten any longer in duration. It's just a little bit longer in the display, so I can grab these edges and nudge them a couple of frames if I needed to fine-tune that cut. And I can do that on the right side and the left side. As long as you have footage on each end of the clip, you can drag these out however you need them to be. So we're going to call that good with the first clip. Let's see what my next one is. Oh, more dancing. Cool. So it looks like I already put in some in and out points on this clip earlier, but you know, I don't really want those anymore. So I'm going to right click anywhere in this range, and I'm going to tell it to clear in and out. And I'm just going to select new in and out points really quick. And you know, actually I think I want this to go a little bit longer, so you can just hit O wherever this playhead is at, and it's going to adjust that to be the new out point. You can do the same thing with your in point. And again, that is I on the keyboard for your in point, O on the keyboard for your out point. Once you have the range you like, you can drag this guy down and position it wherever you would like on the timeline. Now this timeline is reading things from the top down. So if I were to take that second clip and bring it up to video channel 2, you can see that the playhead is reading from the top down, and it is only showing me the video on the top channel here. Let's move this guy to the side, and blam, there is that first one there. So something to keep in mind as you're assembling, try to keep your videos all on the same track, and then leave these higher up tracks, your V2, V3, V4, V2, you could put on your text overlays over here. Let's drag one of these bad boys over real quick. And whenever you see these text packages, while this guy's loading, if you see these text packages with a black background, that's showing that the background to these are going to be transparent. So once you do stack it on top of footage like I have done here, it's going to overlay that text on top of the footage. So that's something to keep in mind as you're assembling and organizing your clips. Another thing to be aware of is, even though I did put in my in and out points to select exactly how long and at what points in that footage I want this to be up, if I take this second clip here and drag it too far over to the left, it is going to overwrite that footage. So it is not smart enough to realize, hey, I'm hitting the edge here. It is going to kind of stop and signify that you are hitting the edge of the next clip. But if you go wild and start dragging it over more, it is going to overlap and erase that footage there. And if you were to move it to the side again, that footage is still gone. So something to keep in mind as you're assembling your clips. So I'm going to speed this up and assemble some clips real quick, and then I'm going to show you how you can add transitions to possibly smooth over the cuts between some of these shots. Okay, so I got a couple of random clips in here, and I realized that this shot I brought in at the very end I think would be a lot better if I started out the sequence with it. So I'm going to click and drag so that it is selecting all of the footage before it, and I'm going to drag it way down here. Take this guy and drag it to the very start, and if I click on this gap between my two clips right here, this empty nothing, with it selected, I can hit delete on the keyboard and it's going to erase that gap and move everything to the right to fill it. So that's just a handy little trick once you are working with a bunch of pieces down here that you need to move around. Now I have all of my video in place, and my text, I don't even care. I'm going to leave that for now. Actually, no. Let's select it. If you double click on the text, you can type in there. Here's some new text, and then depending on the text clip you're dragging over, you have other properties on the right side here in the edit portion of the essential graphics with that text clip selected. You could go in and change the text up here, you can change the color, and depending on the text package you bring over, you could have other settings and elements that you could adjust as well. So we have all of our visual elements compiled in our sequence, and I'm going to bring over an audio track, and I'm going to bring it on to the first A1, that stands for audio 1 track. And now you can see I have some audio underneath all of my footage, and then when I play this, and we got some music. So my music is way too long, and I need to cut that. I could slide all the way down here, whoops, and grab this edge and drag it over and scroll some more and drag it over, but that's a pain in the butt. So I'm going to click on my razor blade tool, and I'm going to click on the audio clip right at the edge where my footage ends, and now you can see I'm going to go back to my arrow tool. Always go back to your arrow tool once you're done cutting. You don't want to accidentally chop up a whole bunch of clips. But now that I've separated this excess audio from the other, I can now select it and hit delete on the keyboard, and it goes away. Just like our footage up here, if I did want the music to last a little bit longer, I could grab that edge and drag it out. Now let's throw in some transitions. The transitions can be a little bit hidden. You're going to be looking for a section called Effects. For me, my window is set up to have it in the left here. If you're not able to find it, you can go up to Window at the very top and check Effects, and then it may show up over here, it may be over here, depending on your layout. Everyone's is a little bit different. So with Effects open here, I'm going to go down to Video Effects and drop that down. Whoops, no I'm not. I'm going to go to Video Transitions. And within this, there are a bunch of folders with different styles of transitions. I would recommend just sticking to dissolves. And so if you drop down that arrow, you can go to the cross dissolve, and you can drag it onto the seams or the ends of clips. Since these act as kind of band-aids between two clips, you're gonna put them on the ends. So drag and drop that where you would like. I'm gonna put one in between our breakdancer and our guitar player. And you can see, let me zoom in on this timeline. You can see as we play it, this cross dissolve box is showing us that it's dipping down the breakdancer as it's fading up the lady playing the guitar. Now, if you want that transition to be a little bit faster or longer, you can do the same thing you do on your footage, and click on the gray cross dissolve box, and then hover with your mouse towards the edge of that box and drag it out to match the duration you would like that transition to happen. Now, the way transitions work is they use leftover footage that isn't being used to blend into the next clip. So for this breakdancer, I have all of this extra footage that would be over here, but I cut it off. The cross dissolve is using that cut off footage to create this transition. So if you have a clip that is at the very, very beginning or the very, very end, your cross dissolve isn't going to work properly because there's no leftover footage for it to work with. So something to keep in mind as you're applying these cross dissolves and other transitions on your clips. Okay, and so that is how you can begin assembling your clips in your timeline. Keep in mind that the playhead is reading from the top down, so when you're assembling your clips, whatever you want to be shown, put it on the very top of your layer hierarchy. When you are cutting and adjusting clips, remember you can grab the edge with the arrow tool and scoot it left and right to extend or shorten a clip, and you can use the blade tool to chop footage into multiple pieces that you can select and delete as well. And then cross dissolves and all of your other transitions are going to be in your effects window that you can open by going to window and making sure effects is checked. And then within that, they're going to be all in that video transitions folder. Try to stick to the cross dissolve or dip to black. The rest of them are pretty flashy, but you'll end up looking like you made a Star Wars movie. If you guys have any other questions or would like some one-on-one help, you can visit us at the Multimedia Lab. Thanks for watching.